This is a threat to Russia. If they consider us a threat, convene a meeting of European and British military chiefs and discuss the need to use or prepare to use nuclear weapons against Russia. That is a threat. Unlike his predecessors, who also wanted to wage war against Russia, Napoleon, Hitler, Mr. Macron is acting less elegantly. Those leaders spoke directly. We must conquer Russia, defeat it. Macron apparently wants the same but claims that fighting Russia is necessary to prevent it from defeating France, alleging that our country poses a threat to France and Europe. Macron periodically boasts that he will call Russian President Putin and talk to him. He has the means to do so. No one is stopping him. On the contrary, President Putin consistently emphasizes his openness to dialogue with all counterparts. As for these absurd accusations against Russia of preparing war against Europe and France, Putin has repeatedly called such ideas delusional and nonsense. Any rational person understands that Russia has no need for this. We seek to eliminate the root causes of the situation created by the West in Ukraine to suppress, dominate, and wage war against the Russian Federation. First and foremost, NATO's expansion. U.S. President Trump and his team fully acknowledge this as the primary root cause and speak about it publicly. Meanwhile, Europeans, who somehow believe the U.S. has betrayed their interests, silence all discussion of root causes, including NATO's role. Instead, they are rallying combat-ready forces within the alliance to deploy in Ukraine. Another root cause we emphasize is their legal eradication of the Russian language, media, and culture. Including banning the canonical Ukrainian Orthodox Church. The West remains silent on this, despite its usual prioritization of human rights. At a recent EU Central Asia event, the focus was almost exclusively on human rights. Yet, in Central Asia, no one bans speaking Russian or French, unlike in Ukraine. Meanwhile, officials from Zelensky's office claim Ukraine is the world's most open democracy. Europe swallows this and stays silent. It was strange to hear Mr. Macron aggressively continue Napoleon's legacy of seeking to subjugate Russia while masking his illusory intentions, which need no explanation, and even criticizing President Putin for alleged deceit. In doing so, he engages in a remote dialogue with U.S. President Trump, who clearly stated that all agreements with Putin were fulfilled. Macron has chosen the path of Zelensky, who, sitting in the Oval Office, shamelessly lied by claiming Putin violated agreements 25 times. This comes from a man who rose to power promising peace and implementing the Minsk agreements, only to later renounce them. Macron also claims Putin consistently violated their discussions, including agreements from the 2019 Paris summit.
Это его обвинение касается и встречи в Париже, которую сам Макрон проводил в декабре 2019 года.
At that Normandy format summit, Macron, then German Chancellor Merkel, Putin, and Zelensky aimed to salvage the Minsk agreements.
Встреча была посвящена, как объявляли французы и немцы, задаче спасти Минские договоренности.
Experts and ministers had fully agreed on a document stipulating troop withdrawal along the entire line of contact.
В декабре в Елисейском дворце на экспертном уровне, на уровне министров согласовали.
However, when leaders reviewed it, Zelensky refused, fearing it would cement the line as a permanent border.
Документ гласил о том, что мы договариваемся о необходимости отвести войска.
He demanded withdrawal only in 3 points, which Ukraine later failed to implement.
Протяженности этой линии соприкосновения. Был согласован документ.
The political section of the Paris document reaffirmed the Minsk Agreement's requirement to legally enshrine the special status of the Donetsk and Luhansk People's Republics via constitutional amendments. Days later, Zelensky reneged. Footage from the post-summit press conference shows him mocking Putin's remarks, revealing his disregard for the agreements. Now, Zelensky claims Russia violated the Paris agreements. Yet even former French President Hollande and ex-Chancellor Merkel later admitted they never intended to fulfill the Minsk agreements, only to buy time to arm Ukraine. Merkel's calls to save the agreements were lies. Naivety in politics is unwelcome. Russia will never practice it again.